You're listening to Fiction Fairies, two authors chasing joy and creativity. I'm author Christine DePetrillo.
And I'm author Amanda Torrey. Welcome to our podcast where we amplify joy, whimsy, and the magic of the written word. Hi, Christine. So good to see you in your fairy wilderness over there.
Good to see you too. I'm loving your background, that floral,
Thank
that ivy. Is
you.
it ivy? It looks like it's
Yeah, I
just
don't
really
know. It's
cool.
something. I'm coming to you, my friends, from Scotland in my little flat, my wee flat, as we would say.
Love
And
it. Have
that
you come across any fairies while you've been there?
Always,
Okay,
always.
very good,
There are
very
always
good.
fairies here. My problem is that today I'm a little less fairy-like because I was supposed to have a new set of wings arrive here, and they have not yet. So I'm wingless. But if we want to have some whimsy, I could add some whimsy. If you think that I should, I should.
Well, I mean, it's up to you. I mean, whimsy is always appreciated and encouraged.
And
So,
this flat is like just all whimsy everywhere. So I do happen to have my little witch hat here, so I
oh,
can
perfect. Perfect.
I dug it
Yeah.
out just in case. So I may not be, my wings are camouflaged today, but I'm just all in my Scotland podcast witchy
Magic.
fairiness.
Yes, love it. I mean, every day is a good day to wear a witch hat as far as I'm concerned. So,
Gotta
perfect.
do it. Yeah.
Yep. Bring in the whimsy however we can, and that's
Absolutely.
perfect. So, and it
Have to
looks
have
like
some
we
dress up.
both have, yeah, we both have sunny days where we are. I
Yes.
can see the sun shining
It's
behind you,
beautiful
and
out. Yeah.
watchers, if you're watching, there's like sun up on my face, reflecting, unfortunately, off some snow still, but it's.
Yeah.
I think
Gotta
it's
get rid of that.
supposed to be high 50s here today. So hopefully,
Okay. Nice.
that white stuff will skedaddle.
Well, the sun is making your wings shimmer in a very lovely way. So
Oh,
I
all
like
right. Well,
it.
that's good.
I like it.
It's magical. Very good.
Yeah.
One of the things we like to do on Fiction Fairies is share what's in our chalice, which is what we are drinking. Today I have
hmm
organic
Ooh,
ginger tea, just kind of having a settling effect for
I
me
love that.
today. How about you, Amanda? What are you drinking?
I have my favorite when I'm in Scotland, especially. I've got the vanilla chai with some honey
Oh,
and some soy
nice.
milk. And I love this mug because it's like you could just wrap your like both your hands
Oh,
around it.
yeah.
And
it's
it's
like
so
a
cozy.
bowl.
It is. Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
So I will be
nice.
talking faster as I consume it because it does have caffeine. So, warning.
Yeah, we should have a little warning that runs along the bottom. Amanda is caffeinated.
Crazier than usual. Oh goodness. So our main goal with this podcast is to meet authors and other creative people, to go behind the scenes into the creative process, which we love to do. Build a whimsical and weird community, always that. Highlight the power of play and find joy and creativity. So let's get on to the joy. Christine, how did you invite joy into your life since last episode?
Well, this week I had the pleasure of sending advanced reader copies or ARCs to my reader team
Yay.
of Chase a Dream. I
Mhm.
have a physical copy
Look at that.
in my hot little hands right
Oh my
now.
gosh, it is
So
gorgeous. Oh, look at the
I love the
colors. Look at
colors. Yeah, I love the
amazing.
colors of
Yeah.
this cover. And so this comes out on April 23rd, and right now my reader team is giving it an advance read. So it's always
Mm-hmm.
exciting, as authors to see something go from like rough notes and then
Mm-hmm.
become an outline and then become a book and then be a finished product with a cover, and then
Yes.
knowing that there are readers out there right now who are enjoying this. So can't
Yes.
wait to, have more joy by releasing it to the
Absolutely.
public on the
Oh my gosh.
23rd. So I'm very excited. This is book 5 in the Hartley's Nest
Mm.
romances, and link will be below to
Oh my gosh.
pre-order it.
Check it
So
out. I love
that's
that
my
whole
joy.
concept because it's like truly like you create life, but then you like give it life when the readers get it. Like it takes
Exactly.
on its own new world. Oh,
Yeah, I feel like
congratulations. So
thank you. I feel like once readers have it, then it's like it's something
yeah.
now, right? It's
Yes.
out there.
Yes.
So,
And it's out of your
yeah,
hands. Like how they
it
interpret it,
is.
how they feel about it is between them and the thing that you created. And you're sort of out of the
Right.
equation at that point. And there's some kind of
Right.
magic about that, right? Like,
Yep. And
It's
it's
just something.
exciting too to know that like those two characters now, like I feel like I mean they've always existed to me, but like
Mm-hmm.
now that other people can meet them and that's
Yes.
very exciting too. So, yeah.
I
So, how about you?
love that. I
What's
love
your
that.
recent joy?
Well, I'm in Scotland. That's all I
Yeah.
really need. I'm here. I'm working on some revisions of my work, and it's just the perfect place to be because, I'm here by myself. I have friend that I see when I'm here sometimes, and I got to see her the first night I got here, which was last night. And now I'm just kind of going to be going for some hikes in the enchanted fairy forests and working on my book and doing little
Love
like
it.
home improvement projects because there are always more of those to do while
Of
I'm here.
course.
So
Endless. Endless.
and
Yeah.
endless.
Yeah. Nice. That sounds
Mhm.
fun though. A little
It's
bit.
fun.
So you've got like part fun, part work, part things that need to be done. That's a good
Yeah.
balance.
But honestly, like it all brings me joy. Like it's all stuff I like to do. Even the stuff that I don't tend to, like I wish that I didn't always have to like do my own like things around the place. Like if I had like unlimited funds and could hire people to do
Right.
all those things. But I also do get joy out of actually doing it and accomplishing it, even if it's something really silly. Like like today I had to we just got a new toilet in, so like the new toilet is smaller than the old toilet, so behind the toilet is like not painted. It was kind of it just like it was yucky looking. So
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, what can I do there? So I just like took some of these like peel and stick tiles and just like put them up behind that. And then I'm like, oh, I gotta do something. So like I had these like flower stickers that I put on the wall in other areas. So then I just put like flower stickers up in the back of it. It's really
Nice.
kind of it's whimsical.
Right. Perfect. Perfect. And like every time you walk by it too, you can be like, hey, I did that. Like that's what I
Yeah.
love about where we live. We renovated a lot of this.
Mm.
So like I sometimes I'll walk by something and I'll be like, hey, remember when that was like this and now
Yes.
it's like
Yes.
this because of what we did to it. So
Right, right.
that's kind of fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone who
So
comes here knows, like, okay, this place is like the crazy place because Amanda decorated.
no, it's the whimsical place, the whimsical
Whimsical,
flat.
crazy fun,
That's what it is. That's what
place
it
to
is.
escape.
So, and see how I turn that around into some
Mm-hmm.
praise, which goes into our spirit
Ah,
of joy topic today, which
clever.
is to put a pep in your step by planting praise.
Yes.
So, kind of, we want to dive in today. Just think for a moment, like, how do you feel when someone compliments like your outfit, or tells you they like the way that you've decorated your
Mm,
home,
mm,
or maybe they're impressed by the way that you ran a fundraiser or volunteered for an important cause, and you feel pretty great when you hear that kind of praise.
oh, absolutely. And, like Christine and I, we both work with children. And so some of the things that we often think about are things like when you're with kids, you're so tuned into using praise to build confidence in them and not generic praise. It's not, oh, you're doing a good job or you look nice today. It's very specific praise to really help them tune into what they're doing well. So, for example, in preschool, I might say, I like the way you picked up the blocks when you were done playing with them. Or, Christine with her students might say something like, oh, I like the way you helped your friends get started on their assignment. Like these are very specific things that they can feel good about, that they can feel noticed by. So with specific praise, like your tone of voice makes a big difference. You're really just like being genuine. And that it means a lot to them. Like you can tell when they receive it from you and how they feel about it. So it's all about saying, hey, I'm noticing you. You're bringing something to the world and it's important. What you bring is important and your contributions are unique. And I mean, how good does that feel for
Yeah.
everybody?
Right. And with children too, like sometimes I know as an educator too, sometimes we get wrapped up in like incentives and like, what can I do to get this
Mm,
behavior to happen? But oftentimes that praise is the most
yeah,
powerful thing, especially if the child can feel that it's genuine and you're not just,
absolutely.
saying things to say things. But, and we're talking about praising children, but that got us fiction fairies wondering
Mm,
about what would happen if that type of praise was applied across all
mhm.
age groups and in all
Yeah,
kinds of relationships. If
strategic.
praise can be used to grow children's confidence and abilities, it can have the same effect on
Mm,
adults too.
for sure.
When you get that praise that really just touches you, or you
Mhm,
get praise about something that maybe you were either really proud about or maybe even unsure about,
mhm.
and somebody else praises you for that, like your entire mood can shift.
Oh, so
um,
much.
and give you what
Absolutely.
we're talking about, that pep in your step. Because
Yes.
I know every time I've been praised for something, like, I might have been trudging along and then somebody
Mhm.
praises you, and then it's sort of like, I feel like
Yeah, like,
skipping
"Oh,
all of a sudden.
someone noticed."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's a mood shift, but like it's even like it manifests itself in
Yeah.
like a physical reaction.
Right,
Your whole like your
absolutely.
shoulders straighten up, your back
Mhm.
straightens up, and you just stand a little bit prouder.
Absolutely.
And it's like a seed has been planted, and
Mm.
the sun is beaming on you
Oh,
brighter, and
yes.
you want to blossom more now that you know that you've been noticed for something good.
I absolutely love that because it's not just going out into the void, you're not just, like,
Mm,
doing these things that are going unnoticed, like and
yeah.
let's be honest, I mean, people do better when they feel better, right? Like, if
Yep.
you're always doing something that is getting ignored or nobody notices you're doing the things, it can eventually wear on you, and, I think a lot of times when people are struggling, to keep going or to do things, just sometimes just having it pointed out that like somebody sees their effort or sees the work they're putting in can just mean so much. I mean, one bit of praise can create this huge ripple effect too, because you get praised, then you want to praise someone else because it just raises your whole energy level, your vibration or whatever, like it raises this thing in you, and then they want to pass it on to someone else, and it just goes on like that, and it's just this kindness that spreads joy throughout so many different people. And praise can really, it can get you to improve. It gets people to do better if they feel better about themselves. They want to continue on that path instead of feeling like, why do I even bother trying or whatever. And I mean, we all kind of sometimes get into that thing of like pointing out the negative or correcting people. But if you only point out the negative or the weakness or things that they didn't improve on, whether it's you know, a child, a partner, a friend, yourself, you know,
Mm,
then you start to feel nagged, feel like, oh, I can't do anything right. I always think about when you see a parent in a grocery store, for example, there's that whole cliche thing of the child throwing the fit and the temper. And I mean, I've been there. Most parents have been there, we've all seen it happening. And so often I try to just connect with the mom, just, to kind of give her an encouraging smile, make her not you can't offer advice, never offer advice to a mother whose child is melting down. Don't ever do that. Don't ever compare them to your children that you raised
mm.
50 years ago. Because we conveniently forget sometimes how our children were when they were young. So just letting her feel, or the parent who's there, feel more comforted. You can actually see, I have seen shifts before when people are judging a mom when the child is melting down, and, if I'm close enough, like I remember one time very specifically where I was just like, you're doing great. I remember those days. Like it can be hard. They're having a hard time, and she visibly relaxed. Like it's like she took a second, took a breath, and then she can handle it better with her child, and it's hard when you feel like people are looking at you and speaking ill about you and thinking you're not doing a good job. And, this is just something that you're just going through it, and being able to, even if it's just a kind word or an encouraging smile, can go a long way. So that's,
Yeah. Yeah, that kind of praise too just sort of makes a connection, like an empathetic connection
mm,
where like I know what's happening here, and
hmm,
just them realizing that that you understand the patience
hmm,
that is required in
yeah,
that
yeah.
situation can go a long way.
And just knowing that
And
you're not, what you see is not always what's happening underneath. Like you might
right,
not see the child being disciplined or whatever somebody thinks, but this parent probably knows that we're not going to connect to this child right now. We need to just the child's dysregulated. I need to
right.
stay calm, help them regulate. And then later we have a discussion, or later we have some kind of behavior modification. But the person in the grocery line doesn't always see that aspect of it, and they might judge. So just giving that reassurance is like, hey, you've got this.
Yeah, right. Exactly, exactly. And that makes them be able to go down the next couple of aisles,
Yeah.
and make
Yeah.
it out of that market, right?
Yes, for
Um,
sure.
I I think too when we praise, we can highlight another person's strengths and let
Mm.
them be seen for what they're naturally skilled at.
Yes.
I always think a lot about like in education, since I spent so much time in that platform, where you might have this student that's like great at basketball and like
Mm.
stinks at math, like
Mhm.
just doesn't connect to math at all.
Right.
And unfortunately, education in the United States anyway would focus on that weakness. They would focus on the
Mm.
fact that this student is not good in math and would say, well, we need to get them extra math help and they need a math
Mm.
tutor or they need a special math program or
Mhm.
what have you. Instead of taking a strengths based response, which would be this child is awesome at basketball. Let's get them a
Mhm.
basketball coach so we can
Yes.
bring that natural ability up to the next level. And I mean,
Mhm.
certainly we don't want them to like completely, ignore math. Obviously,
Mhm.
we don't want that. But if we can build up confidence in something that a student is already good at, and I mean,
Mhm.
I say a
Mhm.
student, but I mean, it goes for anybody. If we're building
Yeah.
up confidence in what people are naturally inclined to excel at,
Mhm.
then that confidence spills into those other areas
So
and
true.
might turn those other things we call a weakness into strengths eventually.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
so again, that push to praise
Mhm.
highlights strengths and
Mhm.
focusing on those strengths. It's more of a supportive way of going about the
Mhm.
world, of navigating, and it obviously creates more joy. You feel good giving the
Yes.
compliment, they feel good getting the compliment,
Mhm.
and like now we have two sides here that are feeling good, and that should be the
Yes.
goal.
Oh,
So
absolutely. And now also like that person is now excelling at what they were naturally good at. They were
yep,
naturally good at basketball. Why
now
not
they're doing
help
even
them get
better.
even
Yeah,
better? Because the
right.
gain that they're going to make on something they're already good at is just bigger. It's stronger. And there are studies about this. We don't have to. We're not making it up. This is a real
No.
thing. You know that really
Yeah.
happens. Been
Yep.
proven. And
Yep.
that confidence may lead them to being able then to tackle the things that are harder for them. It produces growth in both the strengths and the weaknesses. You're going to rise up at not to the same level. This person might never be good at math. I was never good at
Yeah.
math. I'm never going to be good at math. And you know what? I didn't go into a field that required a lot of advanced math. And it's
No.
okay. So
Yeah,
that's
not all of us have to be good at all of the
we
things.
don't exactly. So, if I mean, I was fortunate to have teachers who really saw talent in me in writing, and I didn't see talent in me in writing as a child. It took a long time, but now I still hear those voices now from back then when I was kind of poo pooing it, but I hear it now, and I'm like, oh, maybe they saw something I didn't even see. So, when you say something like, "You're not going to play basketball until you get your grades up," which, come on,
Mm.
that's been a temptation probably for every parent, teacher. There's so many, like, how
Yep.
many teachers like keep an overactive child in for recess
Recess.
to punish
Yep.
them for not doing something, and it's like, no, that
Yep.
child really like needs extra recess. But this can create resentment, and any forward progress is going to be even more of a struggle. You know what I mean? Like, it takes away the thing they were enjoying and doesn't let them develop that strength further. And again, we're talking children, but how does this apply to others?
Right.
Mhm.
Exactly. Exactly. I think too, praising in partnerships is important
Mhm.
too. We often get irritated with our partners when they're not good at doing something, when we fight over, silly things like taking out the trash, picking up the
Mhm.
kids, doing the laundry, like all those household
Mhm.
kinds of things. And even other kinds of partnerships too, business partnerships where, people think the balance is off and all
Mhm.
these things. But if we shift to focusing on strengths instead and praising and trying to amplify those strengths,
Mm.
we're setting up a situation that emphasizes all the positive
Yes.
aspects of the players, what people bring to it.
Yeah, so
And if
true.
if we're looking for what's good, what our partners are good at, uh, we can appreciate those things
Mhm.
and then hopefully accentuate them so
Mm.
that those things continue and bloom more. Again, those things that they're
Mhm.
already doing, and that they're already good at managing and handling. It sets a,
Mhm.
t- a totally different tone in the
Mhm.
partnership. Again, whatever the partnership might be, and it may even lead your partner to doing the things that you were originally
Mm.
complaining about because the whole atmosphere has
Mhm.
changed to something
Yeah.
better. And so they now feel appreciated for the things that they do
Mhm.
well.
Mhm.
And the mindset there will be like, well, if I can do these things well, and that makes my partner happy, and it makes me happy, it makes the whole union better, then maybe I'll try doing these other things too. I might not
Mhm.
like doing these other
Yeah.
things, but I can do them
Right.
for the betterment of the partnership
Yeah.
and to keep that praise going.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I remember once somebody told me, and I don't even remember who it was that told me this, but you might have something that your partner does. Like, let's say they, leave some toothpaste in the sink after they brush their teeth. Okay. And, every morning you see that and it bothers you and it bothers you and it
Mhm.
bothers you. And, you end up fighting about this. Why do you always leave toothpaste in the
Mm.
sink? Right. Somebody once told me that, that toothpaste in the sink and you're yelling at your partner for, like, it doesn't bother your partner. Toothpaste in the sink
Mm.
doesn't
Mhm.
bother them. It
Mhm.
bothers you.
Mhm.
And so,
Mhm.
like, it's really your problem,
Right. Yeah.
So, and that has led me to like really kind of approach things like that with a lot more grace,
Mhm.
being like, well, you know what? Like, this partner is not bothered by this. It's something that I'm bothered
Mhm.
by. So,
Mhm.
like, if I don't want that to happen anymore, like I need to take care of it, right?
Right.
It's
Right.
because it's not bothering them, it's
Yeah.
bothering me.
Yeah.
And usually they're
Absolutely.
little stupid things like toothpaste in the
Right.
sink. I mean, that's not, that's not having
Yes. It's not
global
world shattering.
ramifications.
Yes.
No, it isn't. So,
Yes. Yeah.
again, so like
Yeah.
instead of harping on those things, praise
Mhm.
all the good things that that partner brings to the partnership instead,
Right.
and you're going to have just a way better time. So,
Yeah. I've definitely had conversations like that with friends where I'm like, "Okay, well, maybe your partner doesn't see this particular mess that's bothering you. You see it. It really
mm,
irritates you. But it might, if they lived alone, would they care about it?
mm,
And yes, there's a certain amount of respect we need to give to each other even when something
sure.
doesn't matter to you. But is it is it something that's like, okay, well, this is something I'm always going to take care of. So we can shift the load in this way so that we're both
Yes.
happy, but we're not someone's not doing more of the labor. It's just
Right.
a different shift. Like
Yes.
in my household, like Jim hates doing the dishes. He'll do it. He does it really
Mm.
badly. This is like the one thing he does not do well. Hope he never listens to this. No, I tell him all the time. It's kind of a joke. But so I love doing dishes. I actually find it we don't have a dishwasher. I'm the dishwasher. I always have been my
Mm,
whole life. I enjoy it. I listen to a podcast or my music or whatever. And I it brings me joy to wash the dishes, which is weird. But
mm,
he hates it. So I'm like, just leave the dishes in the sink. I'll get to them. And then,
right.
but when people talk 50-50, I don't think it always has to be exactly you do dishes
No.
50% of the time and I do 50.
No, no, no,
I
no.
don't think it's ever like that. Like he's so
No.
great at so many things about helping out around the house and taking care of me and the dog. Like he does so much. I would never look at it to try to be this equal balance in absolutely everything.
No.
And I think
Agreed.
that that's the thing. I think for a long time we were sort of fed this propaganda like if everybody's
Mhm.
not doing 50-50, then it's not a fair
Mm.
partnership. And it's like, but fairness doesn't always come in these neat little packages.
No.
If
No.
someone
No.
really does not like something and you like it more, then, you split it up. And I mean,
Yeah.
you're just, everybody's going to be more joyful. So, and,
Yeah, and I do think it's like, again, going back to looking at the strengths, right?
mm-hmm,
Because
mm-hmm,
if you take each other's strengths and if you happen to have opposite strengths,
mm-hmm,
even
perfect.
better, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, well, you like going on social media, I don't. And so then
Mm-hmm.
you do it more for the partnership or
Yeah.
whatever, whatever
Yeah.
it might be. It's just, and then, if you don't like something and the other
Mm-hmm.
person picks up that, I mean, then
Mm-hmm.
then it's like you kind of are having you're kind of creating like the perfect individual, right?
Yes. There you
Because
go.
you're taking the strengths from one and the strengths from
Mm-hmm.
the other, and then you're working together as this unit that has all the
Yes.
skills now, right? So,
Right?
I
It
mean,
kind of goes
that's the
back to our
best.
brownie reference last time, like our
Yes,
compatibility
yes.
test, like, are you an edge or are you a center?
Right,
So,
exactly,
uh,
exactly.
and sometimes our partners don't even know what their strengths are, right? Sometimes we don't know what our strengths are. So telling
No.
them through praise brings it to their attention and helps them know that you value it. And when your partner values something, that really does, don't you kind of feel better about yourself? Like
Yep.
not that what somebody thinks about us is how we need to build our self-esteem, but it
No.
sure helps like to feel good about even just your connection with one another, whether it's your friend or your romantic partner or business partner, like you said. And it can just be so eye-opening to hear that somebody else, you know, finds you unique and special and it make you feel that way. Um, when you say that it's something that you get from them that you don't get from others, that's important. And I mean, I have certain friends that I get something from and other ones that I get something different from. And I mean, that's value in your life, right? Like this person is so good at this thing and it makes me feel good to be around them when for this. And so like letting them know that, how often do we just think about these things that make us happy about our friends or family or whoever and we don't tell them? Why don't we? Are we afraid of being sappy or corny? Like I don't know. I've never had someone reject a compliment I've given them.
Oh,
They might feel uncomfortable because they're not used to it
mm,
because honestly, we don't really praise a lot in our
no.
society. And I think that Christine and I would like to lead the charge to bringing it back, right?
Yes, yes. Well, I always think too, like, you think, and I'm going to take us to a dark place for a second, but
Ooh.
you think about like at somebody's funeral, right? And you have
Mm,
this like wonderful eulogy going about,
mhm,
all the things they did, or even like reading an
mhm.
obituary, and it's all these
Yeah.
things. And it's like, I bet that person never knew that people felt
Yes.
this way about them or found these
Mhm.
things to be strengths
Agreed.
about them. And like, what a shame.
I
So,
know.
you know,
I think that all the time when I
yeah.
am at a funeral or something, or when somebody
Mm,
passes. I've really kind of tried to take that to heart over since I've kind of been getting older. I try to think
mm,
like if I think something positive about someone, I really do try to tell them because I'm like, I want them to know before they're gone. Because when I
right,
was younger and I lost people, I I really feel like they had no idea that I respected this thing about them or that I had this particular
right.
memory of them or something. They
Yes.
had no idea. And it is a loss for everybody. I almost feel
Yep.
like, I don't know, wasn't there some show where they threw their funeral like before they died so they like you could
Yes.
come and I don't remember what it was, but
Yeah,
I
I don't
remember
either, but I
thinking
do
that
have a
was
memory of that.
smart, like
Yeah,
I maybe that's what we all need to do, just have like
a
funerals now and then.
celebration. Yeah,
Yeah. And like
yeah,
tell me
yeah,
all the wonderful things about me now, please.
yeah, a praise party.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, I like
let's
it,
start
I
this.
like it. Yeah, yeah. And so now that we've grown into this invasive weed of praise that
Oh, I love that.
we're cultivating here, what we want to encourage is to cast that net wide to
Mhm.
include strangers. I don't know about you, but I love to praise
Oh,
strangers. I
yes,
really
me
do.
too. Mhm.
Telling someone that you like their earrings or
Mhm.
pointing out a kindness that they did, it
Mhm.
just shows them again that you're noticing them and appreciating like what they
Mhm.
individually are bringing to the
Yes.
world. And sometimes we think of like, oh, if I'm just complimenting like the way they look, like that's like surface stuff, but really it
Mhm.
isn't, because
Mhm.
you know, uh, people's appearance are expressions of
Mhm.
often deep inner things. So,
Yeah.
somebody puts together a well cultivated outfit that yourself you would never have put together. I mean,
Mhm.
that's almost an art
Mhm.
form. And
Absolutely.
I mean, I've never had somebody say to me, "Oh, I like your outfit," and me be like angry about it.
Right. No, of
It's
course. Yeah.
you even though
So
it's
true.
just clothing, it's an
Yeah.
outside thing, you
Mhm.
internalize that
Yeah.
compliment because you took the
Absolutely.
time to put that together. You thought about style and fit and color
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
whatever else people think about. I mean, this is a bad example for me because I wore a uniform for most of
Oh,
my
did you?
education and pretty much
Oh.
emerged from there with zero fashion sense. So I take it to heart even more when somebody says, "Oh, I like that outfit." I'm like, "Oh my God, I did
Really?
it. Okay, I nailed it." Yeah.
Nice.
So, but in praising
Mhm.
others that way, again, whether it's something outward appearance or something that you noticed, more about their personality, whatever,
Mhm.
either one of those is good, solid praise. And if you
Yes.
think it, you should definitely say it, whether you know them or
Absolutely.
not. Like, definitely say it. And just kind of seeing their
Mhm.
face light up, that
Mhm.
it almost means more in a way, because you get praise from your friends and you're like, yeah, 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 you like me
Mhm.
anyway.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
you get praise from somebody you're just passing in the grocery store
Mhm.
that you've never seen
Right.
before. That's like a different, that hits a little bit
Oh,
differently.
100%.
Um, and again, brings both of you joy because they
Mhm.
feel great and now you feel
Yeah.
great that you made them feel great.
So
So, I
true.
mean, is that their chain happening again? And kind
Yes.
of that, sometimes they have that expression of surprise where they're like, "Oh,
Yes.
what? Who, me?
Oh,
Like
what
you
am I
saw
wearing? What
me?"
am I yeah.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
And handing out praise like that just establishes
Mhm.
this connection, however momentary it is. I mean,
Mhm.
again, in the grocery store, you're going to say it and
Mhm.
you're going to have this like bright light moment, and then
Yeah.
you're both going to pass again. Oh, my favorite is like if you run into them in a subsequent aisles now, and now
Yes.
you're both all kind of like,
Yes,
"Hey,"
you're like, "Oh, I still love
and
your
it's
earrings."
fun. Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, that one brief little thing creates a vibe that like
Yes.
extends. And then
Yeah.
again, like we said, that person now is feeling awesome. They might now go out to approach
Mhm.
their day in a different way. And all
Yes.
of it is just equaling up to putting more joy, energy out there in the world, which is what the fiction fairies are all
I
about.
mean, don't
So,
we all need that? And, like, there is
yeah.
something so magical, but, like, there's always that point of connection where you say, like, "Oh, I love your earrings," and they're like, "Oh, I got these when I traveled to this place," and then you have a little conversation about where you've traveled to, or, "Oh, I've always wanted to go there. What was your favorite thing there?" It just adds something to you. Or when you take the
Right.
time, like, because I work with children, a lot of my references go
Mhm.
back to children. But,
Mm.
when you tell a parent that their child was well mannered or are so happy, or they, make you smile, like, or that they're doing a great job, like,
Mm.
they don't always hear that. So, I
No.
mean, like, that sort of thing really can not only change their day, it can change their whole path. Like, it
Yes.
can really just make them feel seen and appreciated and just want to keep doing better. So, I guess what we're saying here is praise is fuel for joy. And what do we love here with Fiction Fairies more than joy?
Joy.
Nothing, because
Joy,
it all
joy,
brings us back
joy,
there,
joy, joy.
right?
Yep.
So praising someone's uniqueness and whimsy encourages more uniqueness and more whimsy.
Yep.
And the fiction fairies approve of that. We need like a stamp
Mhm.
of approval. We need like some kind of,
Yes.
if we were into like effects or editing of any sort with
Yes.
videos, we'd get that.
We would. We would.
We would. But so we're gonna have to use your imagination because we are not technologically,
No.
um, whatever that would be.
No, yeah, we're using our limit of technical ability
Yes.
just to do what we do so far. So,
We're like, how did we get into this little box on the screen?
yeah, exactly. It's
So it's
magic.
magic. So the discussions that you have that you're opening up from praise can also lead to another thing that we love because it brings us back to joy, and that is creativity. Now we're talking about
Yes.
creativity here a lot because it's so important to us and it's so important for everybody to have in their lives. So, how can praising someone lead to things that are going to open up creativity? Well, conversations that open up simply because you praised someone, because you noticed something about them, is going to give you ideas to add to the file. And artists know you need ideas in the file all the time. So, getting
Mhm.
someone else's perspective on something might help you develop a character, might help you plot a story, might help you describe a setting or create some form of art because you're seeing it outside of your own lens now. You are inviting somebody else's viewpoint simply because you praised them for something. Like if you say, "Oh wow, that outfit is so great," and they're like, "Oh, I'm really into thrifting. I got this at this thrift store and this and they start describing their process. Well, I mean that's like character material right there, right? Like okay, now I need to write a heroine who goes thrifting because that's not something I'm great at. I mean, I love thrift stores, but I don't have like a creative approach to it, but how cool is that somebody does, or maybe they made their earrings and they talked to you a little bit about the process, what they did, or some kind of jewelry or whatever it is. There's some kind of story perhaps that goes with it. And that's all information to collect for that
Yep.
creative brain of yours.
Absolutely. I have done that often where I have been developing a character and then, something that I've seen mostly on a stranger and I've complimented them on has incorporated
Oh,
itself
yes.
into a personality quirk or something that they're obsessed with. And
Love it.
again, all of those things make characters more real.
Yes,
And
so
that's
true.
because we're drawing it from
Yeah,
real life
absolutely.
experiences and things that we've seen other humans excel at or be
Yes.
obsessed with or have a
Right.
knack for.
Yeah.
And that just breathes life into that
Mhm.
creativity. The muse likes
The
praise
the muse
because she
loves it.
feeds on it. She
Yes,
feeds
she
on
does.
that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Ooh, yes. And,
Yeah.
there's that old writing advice that I, don't always love. It's like the write what you know. Well, we're saying like
Mm,
how you that might work for your first book, maybe 2, maybe
mm.
3, but, like, things are gonna get kinda boring if you only write
Yeah.
about things you personally know
We
and
know.
understand
Yeah.
and have experienced. However, when you get to go and see what other people know, and then I
Yeah.
mean, like, how are you even gonna know where to research on some of these things unless you speak to other people and, like, make those connections and get that information? Like, how you need something to draw from. So,
Yes.
what better way? This
Yep.
is, like, knocking all kinds of things off the ultimate goal is just to make people feel better, and
Yep.
to just show that you're observing them, seeing them, appreciating them, that they're gonna feel so good about it. You're gonna feel so good about it because when you make somebody else experience joy, you get like double the joy. It
Yep.
works that way. And you're just gonna have this ripple effect. Everybody's gonna feel great. And it is also feeding your creativity.
Creativity. Yeah. Yeah, I just read something last night about self-rejection being the worst thing that we can do to ourselves.
Aw.
So, in thinking about this podcast today and about praise, and I'm thinking like, when we praise another person, we are helping them combat self-rejection. I mean, I
That's
think a lot
so
of us
smart.
self-rejection is like the default
Yeah.
setting, right?
Right,
We
right.
just we're always inside our own heads, and we're always finding all the weaknesses and all the
Mhm.
negative things, and it can be hard to find things to praise about yourself. I mean, we
Yeah.
might know like one or two things that we're like, yeah, I'm good at that. But even
Yeah.
that, most of us don't walk around saying, I'm an awesome
I know
author, right? We
exactly.
don't we
Right.
don't do that. We're kind of like,
Mhm.
well, maybe I can write things. I don't
I
know. I'm not
mean, yeah.
sure. We
Somebody
get
might
kind of
like it.
small. Yeah, right.
Mm.
But I mean, let's think about getting reviews, right? Authors getting reviews.
Mm.
That's praise, right? And when
Yeah,
we
so
get
true.
that, that is like again, fuel to keep going.
Yeah.
And it's also shuts off that
Mhm.
self-rejection voice for a
Mhm.
time. I can't
Yeah,
say that it
it's always
shuts
gonna
it
come
off
back, right.
permanently because that
Right.
voice is loud and it's always
It's
there. But
insistent.
we have
Mhm.
these like brief moments where somebody notices us for what we do well,
Mhm.
and that it's almost like, "Huh, there you go,
Yeah.
self-rejection.
Take
See?
that.
They said I was good at that."
They
Right.
did.
And
And they
it
bought the
just
next
boosts.
book in the series, so it wasn't even a
Exactly.
fluke.
Exactly. No, no, right.
Well,
So,
and
yeah, this go
if you
ahead.
I'm sorry, but, like, when you're
No?
talking about this self-rejection that we have, like, of course, we have this whole lifetime of being criticized building up, because from the time you're a little kid, "Get down, don't climb that, don't do this, don't do
Mm,
that." We're always, don't. Do better, do your homework. You can't do this until you do this." It's always like this, like, steamroller of things that we're not
yep,
doing right. These things that we're
right.
doing wrong, and we have to know that we're doing them wrong so that we can fix them. I disagree with that. I'm very much a speak positive to get
Mm,
to change behavior sort of thing. But
yeah.
this is like how it tends to be. Teachers to point out the things you're not doing right. They don't always have time to individually praise everybody for.
Oh,
And I'm not saying anyone's wrong for doing these things. I'm saying this is just the kind
no.
of thing that comes inherent to, like, it happens. But if you think about how we go through life, from childhood to teen years, you always have people giving you negative feedback of the things you did wrong, the things you could do better, the things, whatever. And then you get into partnerships and the same thing, as you're figuring out ways to, when you're dating, or you're always getting this feedback that's always like something that's wrong with you, something you could do
Yes.
better, something that's not quite
Yeah.
right, or, you know, and so of course we're that way, so like,
Mm,
and we're not always going to have the advantage. We can't go back in time. We can't undo all of those things. But doing stuff like this, I think, is a way to sort of reset that and to make it a priority to say, we're going to make ourselves feel better. We're going to acknowledge the things that we are good, that are just make us good people in whatever way it is. Like, what are our talents? What are our personality traits that are positive? When I am with little kids, and I did this with my children, and I've done it in classrooms, and I do it with my nanny children. When they have behaviors that are starting up to kind of, deteriorating a bit,
mm,
I don't, especially if I notice I'm correcting a lot, I don't like to point
mm,
out the things that they're not doing well.
mm,
Like, I of
mm.
course have to try to help them, whatever. But my favorite thing is the kindness jar. And I can't remember if we've
Mhm.
talked about this on here, but I literally just get like a big jar and we decorate it. We call it the kindness jar. And for the next however long, I just keep little papers and a pen next to it. And I'll just try to catch them doing something kind whenever I can.
Yes.
And sometimes it's a very small thing. Like,
Mhm.
"Oh, you held the door open for your sister. I'm gonna rate that. I'm gonna put it in the kindness jar." I don't even say I like it, I love it, you did a great job. I don't say anything. I just say what they did that was kind.
Yeah,
I'm
the
just pointing it
event.
out.
Yeah.
And they're so eager to get their names and that thing into the kindness jar that it does create that
Perfect.
ripple effect. You will see it almost instantly. It is, if you're a parent listening, or if you work with children, this is literally the best behavior modification system I've ever used. Ever, ever, ever.
Mm,
And it works on every child because they all
mm.
want to be acknowledged for doing the things
Yeah.
that they're doing well. So, if we ignore the fact that they threw their pencil on the floor, like, does it really matter? I mean,
Mm.
we don't want to reward the behavior or whatever, but, can we overlook that and say, wow, you just gave the cat water. You noticed that they were thirsty and you filled their bowl. I'm going to put that in the kindness jar. And like, then that thing that they were doing that was negative, that was probably for negative attention, you're kind of
Yeah.
like cutting off that source. That flame is like being
Yes.
put out, and
Yep.
you're blossoming. You're spreading those
Yeah.
weeds into beautiful
Yeah. I
wildflowers.
was I was just gonna say what you said about, that negative behavior was looking for attention, and if you're giving attention for something positive
Mhm,
instead, and that's gonna feel better than
mhm.
whatever this
Yeah.
other negative attention seeking thing was.
Right.
So,
And
yeah,
honestly, I'm
definitely.
talking about children, but are we any different?
No, no,
Sure, we grew up, we got taller, we we got, wiser maybe, I don't know. But
maybe. Yeah.
we're kind of the same. When my partner tells me something he appreciates about me, I do that more. you know?
Yeah,
And if
exactly.
someone criticizes me for something, I feel differently about them. Like, and that's maybe
Yeah.
mean, but I don't know. But like, you do kind of, it's that whole thing where they say people don't remember what you did, but they remember how you made them feel. Like,
Yes,
people
yes.
do, if you make somebody feel good by doing things like pointing out the good things or just being kind of positive around them in general, not toxic positivity, but just like adding these little things in and just praising them when you can and just, genuine specific things,
Anyway,
not
yeah,
just
not
whatever.
silly. No, yeah, right.
They're gonna remember. They're gonna and even if
Yeah,
they don't remember exactly what you said, although, I mean, we do tend to remember
we
praise, don't
do.
we?
Yeah,
But, they're gonna remember that you made them feel really great, and that makes you a special person, and it makes them a special,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
recipient of that. So, anyway.
Right, and they're gonna wanna be in that energy and, like, hopes that that feeling happens again too, and then again, that
Yes.
makes that partnership, whatever it might be, something positive, another positive thing in the world. And this
Absolutely.
whole idea of praise that we're talking about too, I mean, I feel like we've talked about it with children, we've talked about it for adults. I mean, we can even go into our Fiction Fairies,
Mhm.
Forest Crone corner,
Yes,
and
let's.
relate praise to being a forest
Mm,
crone. Sometimes we forest crones can feel a little invisible. Kind of,
true.
you get that sort of fading away, kind of like
Mhm.
feeling. And so to get praise about anything lets us
Mhm.
know that we've still been seen and
Yeah,
we've been valued for what we bring to the world.
true.
So I think that that's an important thing to think about is that
Oh, for
a
sure.
praise is good for any age. Um,
Never
it
ends.
it just it's not gonna fall wrong on any
Yeah.
age.
Oh, absolutely. And not only that, but it helps us form connections with people around us, right? And as we get into our crone years, a lot of people do start feeling more lonely. You're not forced into social groups as much as when you're younger, when you're in school, when you have children, when you're on sports teams, when you're work, have like different jobs or whatever. Those things come with community. But as we age, I find that a lot of those communities sort of dissolve. You don't have that same like force you in there. So feeling isolated obviously can lead to loneliness and feeling even worse about yourself. But praise creates this network of celebrating uniqueness and worth. And isn't that like the most amazing way to build friendships? And I
Mm,
mean, don't underestimate the power of it, because if you are in a group anywhere, and it might be that you're just at the library and you see someone and you're like, wow, you have the coolest collection of tote bags. I notice every time you're in here, you have a different tote bag. They're so cool. And that opens up a conversation. Oh, where do they get them? Oh, they make them, or this or that. And you just start talking, and then maybe next time you talk about something else, and it just creates this. The whole introduction thing was the whole way you met this person was simply because, maybe you don't go up to them and say, hi, I'm Amanda, what's your name? I probably would
right.
never ever do that.
No.
But I've had many conversations that have led to friendships and relationships, even if they're
Yes.
just casual friendships, that every time you see them, you just get happy because you're like, oh, this is the person that has the great tote bags or whatever. And they're thinking, oh, this is the person that noticed me and noticed
Right.
my thing and went out of their
Yeah.
way to tell me that they noticed,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And again, like I think I was telling you, Christine, when we were planning this, I have my book club once a month, and this was just like because we were planning right after it. I was just thinking about how like one of my friends, I complimented her earrings, and she had a story with them about how she selected them, where she got them when she was traveling, and it opened up this whole thing. I've been friends with her for years, and I learned things
Mm,
about her that I didn't know, and that's just such a great, great, great way of growing friendships and relationships, and just sort of all because I liked her earrings.
right.
And you see that so often. Like there's so many times something because somebody has a t-shirt that has a cool saying, or you like their shoes, and I mean, how many times have somebody complimented you and you're like, oh yeah, I got this for $5 on sale, and that
Mm,
just leads to another kind of fun conversation, and it just
yeah.
takes the tension or like the fear of reaching out to somebody or because I think realistically, a lot of people do feel like they'll be rejected if they try to reach out and make new
Yeah.
friends. And this just sort of takes away all of that tension. It just becomes more of a natural thing.
Yeah.
So,
I think too, like if you're someone who's more introverted, like
mm,
I am, and I will see somebody, I might notice something that I want to praise, but then, that voice in my head is like, oh, we can't talk to them, we don't know
mm,
them, or what will they
mm,
think of me, or all
mm,
that, or like, I don't have time to be social, or whatever it might be, all those things that we tell ourselves that kind of put up the gate.
mm,
But I find that like if I continue to like see if that person continues to be in my field of view and I continue to think this thing about them,
mm,
it's almost like I can't help myself. Like
yes,
it like pushes me out of that introverted kind
mm,
of feeling, and it's almost like I get kind of caught in their energy, and it's
yeah,
like it's like okay, there's something here that's making me vibe with this stranger,
yeah,
and I feel compelled almost to give this
mm,
praise, and
mm,
then you give it, and I can't tell you how many
mm,
times I've given that praise and then ended up talking again to this
mm,
perfect stranger about really deep topics, and
yes,
finding out in the span of like 10 minutes that like our entire belief systems are like exactly the same or
yes. Oh my
something.
gosh,
You know what
yes,
I
that's
mean?
the best.
And it might even be something like weird too, like
Yeah,
they like exactly the same weird
yeah,
thing or
mm,
something. And then
mm,
it's like, you know what, like that connection, like our energies were meant to intermingle
mm,
just now. And it happened
mhm.
because of that praise that I was
Yes, yes.
compelled to give. So like
I love
again, I
that.
always think that it's if you feel compelled to say a
Mhm.
positive thing to somebody, like go ahead
Do
and
it.
do it,
Don't even think
because I
about it.
think
Just yeah.
yeah, I mean, could it go wrong? Sure, but so what?
Maybe.
Then you just
But will it?
continue
Yeah.
on, but
Yeah.
it's
What are the
probably not
odds?
going to go wrong.
Yeah. What
Yeah,
are the odds?
right.
I just
So,
love this idea of like you both having your weird beacons out and like like
yes.
found each
Yeah,
other
I
and
see it like a yeah, like a satellite, right? Boop, boop,
yes.
boop,
Calling
kind of like
all
rings
weirdos.
out there.
Calling all
Yeah.
weirdos. Come to
Yeah,
me.
and I think too, like, in the forest crone thing, when I see another forest crone,
Mhm.
like, that's even better. I think
Oh,
that's even
yeah.
a better thing
Yeah.
because, like, you've got the crone energy plus this positive praise and the joy, and it's just,
Mhm.
like, creates this nice little
Mhm.
recipe here.
Yeah.
And, even if it's not praise about physical things,
Mhm.
that's good. It's gonna, like, deepen your confidence because, we
Mhm.
spend so much of our youth, like, worried about what do I look like,
Right.
and how do people see me?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
you get to that forest crone thing and you're like, I don't really care how I
Whatever.
look. I don't care how other people see me. But you
Yeah.
do care
There's
about
that
like
part.
the person that you
Yeah.
are. Yes.
True.
Yeah. And so when
True.
somebody notices that and comments on that, the substance of our person, like that really helps.
It really does, because it's like I do feel that when we're young, so much of our value is in how we look and what we bring to that aspect of the world. And
Mm,
there is a liberation about getting older and just being like, well, I don't have to really care about that anymore, to
mm.
some extent. I mean, we
Right.
can care about how we look to some extent. But
Mm,
but like having somebody actually, yeah, just see the substance in you, there is some magic in that. I
mm,
do
mm,
that is I always feel so appreciated. I think I'm really fortunate to be surrounded by people who do say kind things a
mm,
lot,
mm,
and it really, I don't know, it does something to me. For a while, it was really hard to accept any kind of compliments, and I feel like
mm.
I've gotten better. And I like live. I think one of my love languages is like praise.
Yeah.
Does make me feel so much better. But and praising others, like it's a mutual thing.
Mm.
Like I love to give praise. That is probably one of
Yes.
my favorite things. But yeah, it really does transform you. So anyway, that babbling bit actually sort of leads me into our next
Well, no, I was
topic.
gonna I was gonna say I wanna praise you in the fact that you like to give praise. So
Oh, thank you. And I want to praise you and that you like praise. And actually, like this is kind of a little deep for our podcast here. But this is very dear to me with my working relationship with you, Christine, because we are very similar in so many ways. Like we are so aligned, and I've known that from like when we first met, like when we first became
yeah.
friends at the writing group, and then when I read your work, I'm like, wow, we write so similarly too. And it's
Mm,
just been this really great parallel course, like through our careers. But like we're very different in a lot of ways too. And
yes.
so we've done multiple projects together. And so often I feel because I'm this very like flighty, up in the clouds person, and Christine is very grounded to reality, like also very like imaginative and whimsical, but like also like very like she knows how to get stuff
Practical.
done. Okay. I might trudge through and get it done eventually, not in a linear way of any sort, but so Christine is very, very good at this. So when we work together, I am always in this position where I'm like, oh my gosh, like, do I even bring anything to this? Because, Christine's strengths are the strengths like everybody would want to have. Like they're great, great, great strengths. They're amazing, and I just admire you, Christine, so much for this. So all for so many things, but it's just so amazing. So I'm always apologizing to her. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, I wish I was more like that or that. And one day she said to me, she's like, Amanda, like you bring like so many like great ideas. You're so good at just like really thinking of ideas so quickly. And it really made me emotional because like I didn't think that was a strength. And that's sort of what we're talking about here. Like I didn't know that was a strength. That's just something I do. But ever since you said that to me, I've been like noticing it more. And I'm like, wow, I really do. I do think of ideas really fast and I can carry them forward. So I lack structure. But that's what
Well,
I
same
think
I
that
mean,
we
same thing. I mean, some of the things that I have strengths in are things that people often see like, well, that's the boring stuff. Like
no.
that's nobody thinks that's great. So again, having you be like, "Oh, you're so organized and that helps us do X, Y, and Z." Like that makes you feel like, "Oh, being organized is a good thing," right?
Yeah.
I often feel like, and this is coming up in a lot of different areas of my life recently. I mean, we both love trees, but like
Mhm,
trees seem to be a very important thing for
mhm,
2026. But
mm.
I can see that you and I are like parts of the same tree. Like you're these
Ooh,
like branches out there up in the
maybe I
sky
am.
receiving things. And like I'm
Ooh,
down here at the roots, like kind of getting those ideas and bringing them down and figuring
oh,
out what we need to do to like share them with everybody.
yeah.
And I just think that again, like it's a partnership that works because we appreciate and praise the strengths that each of
Mhm.
us has while also having joy and reveling in all the things that we also have in common.
Yes.
So
Oh,
it
I
just
love that
it
imagery.
really
Oh my
works
gosh,
out.
we're a tree.
We're a
We're the
tree,
fiction fairy
fiction fairy
trees.
tree.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry now.
That's it.
No, I love that. And like honestly, if we both had the same strengths, we wouldn't be able to
No,
collaborate the same way because
no, because
what would
if
we
we were
do? We'd
both
be stuck
like,
on the same
yeah, if we
things
were
and flourishing in the same things.
right, right, if we were both like receptive to all these ideas, we would just only have ideas.
Yeah,
And if we were
yeah,
both
yeah.
like on the ground trying to figure out how things work, we would have nothing to like make work.
Right.
So it
Yeah,
just
we bring
doesn't,
that
yeah.
balance to each other and like we
Yeah,
bring
it wouldn't
out
work out
the
any other
things.
way. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
because I know you're waiting, like I'm such a procrastinator, but like with you, I most of the time can meet a deadline because I'm like, she knows it's
Mhm,
my deadline. She knows. She knows
mhm,
she's waiting for
mhm.
it to do her part. So it does bring me back to like that grounded
Yeah.
reality. So it helps
Yeah.
me to grow in that thing that has been a weakness of mine. It helps me
Yeah.
to
Same thing. Same thing when we meet, I'm kind of like before we meet to like plan, I'm like, all right, I know Amanda's gonna have some great ideas. Like, let me think of some great ideas. And
Aw.
like it makes me try to step away from being so grounded all the
Mm,
time and be
mhm.
like, well, like what if
Go
this and
float for
what
a
if
little while.
that and try to
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
it's so
So
fun.
again, it's a balance. So
I love
it's
it.
good stuff.
Well, I love being part of a tree with you.
Yes. Me too. Same.
And we love all our joylings as part of our trees too. The
Yes.
joylings can all be like the leaves
Leaves.
on our
Yes. Love it.
tree.
We're here supporting you, Joylings.
Yes, yes. Help us spread the joy. Anyway, so that was our rant about that. So now moving on
Yeah.
to important business.
Oh,
In important business today, we would like to introduce a new segment of the Fiction
ooh.
Fairies podcast that I do not think we have introduced yet. It is called
Mm-mm.
Unapologetically Weird. It's
I
very
love it.
serious. This is very serious. Stay with us. This is where we share something weird or quirky about us, and we just thought would be kind of funny because fun because sometimes that weird thing might be praiseworthy, and we are here to
Mhm.
demonstrate how. So I'll go
Yep.
first, since I could be like queen weird today. So, one weird thing about me, and it might not really be weird, because honestly, we all think that things are weird, and until we meet somebody else who also shares a weirdness, and we're like,
Likes
oh,
it.
okay, well, it's not really that weird. Other people like it too. Well, okay, here's my confessional. I love moss. Like, I love moss. I love moss. I know it sounds I really love moss. Like, I'm like, there's like a Facebook group, like, I love moss or something. I'm in
Oh
it.
my
Like, I
gosh.
just like, and I don't really know anything
Oh,
about it. I don't like research it. I just love to play in it, like, around it.
Mm.
This is starting to sound really off the rails, and I do not mean in like some kind of
It's supposed
perverted
to. It's
sense, okay?
supposed to.
But
Yeah.
it's just when I see like a big, like a whole big stretch of moss, I need to touch it. Like I just need to touch it. I need to like gently pet it. I have been known to lay down in it, to roll around in it, perhaps.
Love
Again,
it.
not in a like perverted, kinky way. This is just
No.
being childlike joy. Okay, so keep your
Joy.
minds with me here. So, the thing that kind of ties this together, I love moss. I see it all the time. You know, my daughter also like loves moss. Like, it's just like a thing. If we see moss, we could be hiking with friends and we're like, moss, and everybody else is like
Yes.
up the mountain or whatever. But one time I traveled with one of my closest friends, and we went to a place, and there was a place that had tons and tons of moss, and of course I'm like, ah! So it was so fun, and we're always really silly together anyway. But you know, like I got her to like roll around in the moss and touch it and lay it. And we did like a whole photo shoot. It was very, very funny. Like the photos are very, very funny because this isn't something she would normally do. I can honestly say, and I think she would agree with me, she has probably never rolled around in moss before. She's probably never taken a photo of herself in moss before. But later, like we had so much fun. There was so much laughter, so many fun pictures. And she praised me by saying that I get her to do weird, whimsical things and I
Nice.
get her to play. And that meant
Love it.
so much to me because I'm like, yay, like that's something that's so weird about me, you know, that's like, whatever. Not everybody's going to like that. Not everybody I hang out with is going to enjoy doing those things with me. But if I can in some way get my friends to be more playful when they're around me, that makes me so happy. And when somebody
Love it.
tells me that they only act this way when they're around me, that like, I mean, just
Love it.
boost of confidence. I'm like, fine, for
Yeah.
you, I'll be
Perfect.
weirder. I'll be even more weird. Let's go.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
So
Love it.
what's
And I
something
love that. Well, I love that your weird thing is like getting someone to play more too. Like that's the
Yeah.
end result of it. For me, like my unapologetically weird thing gets people to be more efficient, of
Okay.
course.
Okay. That's good.
So
That
so
tracks with
yeah,
our personalities, right?
right, it does, it totally does. A weird thing about me is that Monday through Friday, I eat the exact same breakfast and the exact same lunch, like
Ooh.
Monday
Like
through
for a
Friday
week at a
without
time or like forever?
uh, all time, for all time.
Really?
Right. Right, and what makes it even
Ooh.
weirder is that, like, now I've been working from home, I literally could walk into the kitchen and get whatever I want, but I still have these same breakfasts and lunches, and on the lunches, I make them on a Sunday, and I make all 5 of them ahead of time, like
You
meal
are
prep, right?
good.
And so I just go in there, but it's weird, it's definitely
I
weird
mean,
to
it's
eat
a
the
little
same
weird,
exact thing for
yeah.
breakfast, but
But, like, in a
think
good
about it in
way.
think about it in terms of efficiency, right?
Yeah.
I'm in the grocery store. I don't have to puzzle through what am I going to have for breakfast every day?
Oh
What am
my
I going to have for
gosh.
lunch? I just buy those
Brilliant.
same ingredients.
Yeah.
And then when breakfast and lunch come on Monday through Friday, it's on autopilot, right? And I just grab it. And
That's
for
so smart.
some people I have received criticism for this saying, "Oh, like doesn't that get boring? You're not getting any variety and blah blah
Mm.
blah, all these things." But I did have someone say to me that this kind of like strict meal planning for just for breakfast and lunch, Monday through Friday, they praised me for being like so efficient. And like
It
it
is
felt
efficient.
good to be
Yes.
weird in that way
Yes.
where someone was like, that's super type A, but like, hey, you're saving time and it's like kind of streamlining the whole
Yeah.
thing. And I think it made that person kind of think a little bit like, like maybe I could do that. Maybe not as like extreme because how you just said about like maybe one week you're eating
Mm.
the same thing and then the next week and vary it or whatever, that's fine. But like kind of step into it in like degrees perhaps. But it was nice to be praised for that weird thing in terms
Absolutely.
of it being seen as an efficient thing. Because
Yes.
again, to me, that's the other thing about praise. Like, you never know what someone is going to consider praise. Like, to me,
Yes,
if you
so
call me
true.
efficient, you call me efficient, I'm like, yes, like you just made
I'm
my
your
day that I
efficient
was
girl.
efficient. Yeah, if I find a more efficient way of doing something,
Oh,
all the
yeah.
better. Like,
So
love that.
gosh, nobody has
So,
ever once in my life told me I'm efficient. So weird, I've heard.
well, Yeah, like a peeve of mine is like wasting time. Like I just,
Mm.
so like if I can be efficient and somehow save myself time,
Oh
and
my
to be
gosh.
honest though, like the time that I save, I just use that time to figure out another way to be efficient. So it's a never ending
I
cycle for
love
sure.
this.
But like if some of that efficiency can like make other people's lives me a little smoother, a little more streamlined, then
Yeah.
hey, like okay, good,
Well, and I mean, like the
So
decision fatigue that you just eliminate is so that's
yeah,
brilliant. And that probably really helps you
yeah,
because you are such a like productive person. Like you get so much done and you're so like structured on what you expect from yourself and what you do and you accomplish it all. And I'm
mhm.
sure that things like that, like not having to
Not
think
waste time.
about
Yeah,
what am I going to have for breakfast and do I have this ingredient and let me find a new recipe. I'm sure that
yeah,
helps clear up your mind to be able to stay on that thing because I'm such a
yeah,
neophile, like, I need newness all like, I need novelty all the time,
yeah.
like, I'm, like, pathetic with my need for novelty, like, really bad. So, like, I love leftovers because I don't like cooking a lot. I like cooking
Mm,
when I want to, so I'll do batch
mm,
cooking and I'll enjoy it, I'll get into it,
yeah,
but then I just wanna eat leftovers for, like, the week.
yeah,
And I will have, like, preferred meals, so maybe every day for who knows how long, could be weeks, could be months, I'll have the same things, but then I'm
something.
like, "I can never eat that again." It just
Yeah,
kinda
right,
dies a
right.
natural death for me, and I just don't think about it
Yeah,
anymore. I don't stop liking it, I just stop thinking about
mm,
it and stuff. So
yeah,
it's so interesting how we could just work so differently in that, you know? But, I
yeah.
mean,
I mean, I do vary.
You're aligned with Steve Jobs because he only wore, like, that one color turtleneck. He had,
Oh,
like,
yeah,
200 of them and wore the same thing because
yeah,
he's like, "I don't want
same
my
one.
brain to go to
Pick it
what
out.
I'm gonna wear today. I'm just gonna pick one
No.
off the rack." Smart.
Yeah, that's it. That was I gotta tell you, I mentioned uniforms before when I
Mm.
was in school from grade 1 all the way to 12, and that was also another maybe that's where I learned some of this efficiency
Ooh.
because that was just no thinking about it, put it on. I could get up at the last moment, I got some extra
Excellent.
Z's
Yes,
so that
there you
I
go.
could do that. So, yeah. So, I don't know.
I
But
love
anyway,
this
that's
I
my
love
that's
this
my
unapologetically
unapologetically
weird thing
weird.
about you. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. And then do you get, like, really experimental with, like, your dinners or on the weekends and stuff, or do you
I
kinda
can, yeah,
yeah.
I will try new recipes
Mm.
often for dinner, but like you, I do batch cook and have
Mhm,
leftovers. So,
mhm.
I mean, I do, while dinner is varied, whatever I do make might last like 3 nights
Yes, nice.
potentially.
That's good.
So that there's that. So
Mhm.
I do vary that up. I mean, I've said before that I'm kind of one of those people, like if they made like a dog kibble for people, like I would just eat that. Like I
Oh
just
my
don't
gosh,
care,
that's
you
so
know?
funny because I literally
Yeah.
was talking to Jim about our dog this morning. We just like were chatting, and he was saying how something about the dog food, and I just was thinking
Mm.
to myself, how awful would it be to be a dog and have to eat the same
Uh,
kibble every day?
yeah.
So
That would be
funny.
great to
That's
me.
just one of those things how we're so different in that
Yeah.
kind of thing. Like
Yeah,
I would go
I mean,
nuts.
I like good food, don't
Yeah,
get me
of course.
wrong, but,
Yeah.
like, it's another one of those things, like, if it's gonna take me forever to make it or if I
Hmm.
have to go out and get it, like, forget it. Give me cereal, I'm good
Yeah.
to go.
Well, and also
Yeah.
I will say though, when I go to a restaurant, I order the same thing in that restaurant every time. Like I have my
Yes,
I
me
don't
too.
try other things. So I'm like, but I already know I like
Yeah,
that. So why am I going to get something
yeah,
new? So,
yeah,
we're all on the spectrum of things.
we are. Yes, for sure,
So how about the
for sure.
sprite spell from
Oh,
our last
yes.
episode? So our last episode was use our 3-step journey for seasonal firsts, notice, collect, revel. So how'd you do? I have to say I did I can't this feels like it was so long ago, and I literally one day was
Mm.
driving and I'm like, "Oh, this is how I've been using the Sprite spell." And then all of those thoughts are out of my head right
Oh god.
now. So, like, I did. I just can't tell you what I did because I don't recall.
Okay.
Didn't
We'll
write
take
it
your word
down.
for it. That's all right, we believe you.
But
We
I
believe
have
that you
been
did it.
very tuned into noticing the firsts. Like, there's so many, like, little buds
Yeah,
on the trees, and it's been
yes.
really fun to watch it. So, how about you? I'm sure that you have a much
Yeah,
better documented proof of
well,
your
no, I mean, I just the same thing of noticing those first. I went to the supermarket and I noticed the first robin around here.
Oh.
So like that was like almost immediately after our episode
Oh,
that I saw
perfect.
that. And then what was funny is I had picked up a book called Poems of Earth and Spirit
Ooh.
by Kai Siedenberg, and I
Mm.
had picked it up for a different reason. But in reading all the poems in here, I came across this one that I just like to share briefly because
Yeah.
it's right on this topic of our last podcast
Mm.
episode on noticing and reveling in these firsts. So it's how can I walk by? How can I just walk by when the delicate green ferns are unfurling so perfectly? When the brave little mosses are stepping out in their finest green fronds, knowing this is their time to shine? When pale gray branches have slept all winter are giving birth to countless bright green leaves.
Mhm.
How can I just walk by without stopping to greet these beloved friends, to praise their beauty, to honor their patient and generous labors? I want to bow down before their humble glory. I want to kiss the ground they grow in.
Oh my
I
gosh.
mean, it
Was that
goes
written
with
for
our
us?
last episode. Right, it goes with our
That's
last
eerie.
episode, and then it mentions moss and praise for this
Okay.
episode. So, Kai Siedenberg, thank you for writing
Yeah.
this book. A link to
Thank
this
you
will
for
be
being a
in the show
psychic.
description. Yeah, lots of good poems in this, but when I saw that, I'm like, this poem is about like noticing these first
That's
and like of
wild.
course, like how can you walk by them? You
Yes,
must
so
notice
true.
them. You
Absolutely notice
must.
them. Life is just so much
So,
better when you notice all these things. Like there's so many bad things
agreed.
that get our attention. And how beautiful is it to be like, look at the buds on those trees? Like, I haven't seen
Yes.
that since last year. This is a moment to
No.
celebrate.
Yeah.
That's
Well, and on that idea, like of noticing those first, like I always sometimes I get overcome by the fact that like I'm here right now when this is happening and I
mm-hmm.
get to see this. I was thinking about that a
Absolutely.
lot because we just came, we have those astronauts that went to the
Yes.
far side of the moon. And I was driving home from Rhode Island when they were making their approach and going
Oh,
around that back side. And so we were listening to it on the drive home, which was really cool. And I'm just thinking, like, you know what? Like, we're alive in this time where, yes,
mm-hmm.
there are like all these like terrible things
Mm-hmm.
that are going on, it's all kinds of
Mm-hmm.
terrible things. But
Yeah.
we're also alive at this time where four astronauts just went around the moon. They went the farthest that any
Uh,
human has gone in space to date.
so
And
cool.
it's like, and we get to be here, and
Yes.
we are seeing both of these things.
Mm-hmm.
But like, let's go and think about this moon thing and be like, wow, and let's
Mm-hmm.
like focus on more of those
Mm-hmm.
things. And let's
And
praise those
let's
astronauts
praise them
to the moon and back.
to
Let's praise
the moon
them.
and beyond.
Yes.
Yes. I
Yes.
mean, like, yeah, we can't do anything about a lot of the big things, the big bad things,
No.
in our lives. Like, we could do the things that we could do,
Hmm.
but nobody can take away from us how we feel when we have our bare arms in the sunshine for the first time after a long winter.
Yes.
Nobody can take
Yes.
away the joy that we feel connecting with a stranger and praising them on
Right.
something that we noticed about them and on
Exactly.
making sure that our loved ones feel appreciated and loved and valued for the things that make them unique and that make them so wonderful. So, yeah, let's
Yep.
spread this. If you have never done a Sprite spell, please do this one because our next
Yes.
Sprite spell is um, just genuinely praise someone about something specific. Okay,
Hmm.
anyone. It could be someone you know. It can be a stranger. Try both. Like, absolutely be praising the people in your life. Please, just like
Yeah.
even if you have to set yourself a goal, even if you're like, I need to
Yeah.
tell my partner 3 times today something good about that he did for me or she did for me. I am going to
Mm.
point out 5 things for my child that they're doing really well.
Mm.
Like, and don't put a but with it either. It is just
No.
this observation, and then
Mm.
go out to and praise a stranger. Maybe pick the grumpiest looking person and
Yes.
praise them. Like, you can gamify this,
Yes.
like, make it fun. Like,
Mm.
I mean, and trust me, there when I was traveling here, there was a TSA agent who was very grumpy with me, and I had her laughing before I made it through the metal detector,
Nice.
so and she was, like, not being nice. But by
Love
then,
it.
she was, and it made me feel good because 'cause I'm like, "Alright, maybe she didn't want her day to be a little better, but maybe I made just this moment a little better for
Mm.
her, even if she's like, ah, that
Perfect.
person." So,
Perfect.
see what effects the
Perfect.
praise has on you and what it has on them. And I
Yeah.
think you're gonna
Yeah.
find that you will want to expound on it the way we have as well.
Yeah, I do. I think so. So we'll see how we did with this new sprite spell in the next episode. And
Mhm.
Joylings, please tell us about your progress with any of the sprite spells. You can comment wherever you listen or watch the podcast. You can DM us on social media. All of our links are below in the show description and on the About tab of our Fiction Fairies Substack, which you should absolutely subscribe to if you have not
Subscribe.
already.
I
Yes.
love getting those little emails in my email
Me too.
inbox. It
Yeah.
brings me joy every time I see it. I'm like, I Oh, those
Yep.
fiction fairies.
Yes.
And I think that's it for this episode. So if you enjoyed the Fiction Fairies podcast, if you can keep up with our crazy weirdness here, because maybe you
Mhm.
resonate with it, maybe you feel like you could be part of this community that we are building. Hey, hit the like button, subscribe wherever you're listening or watching. If you subscribe, you won't ever miss one of our very value heavy episodes.
Right.
Find us on social media, leave a review. That would be really helpful. And of course, tell
Mm.
everyone about the podcast. You can even send this to them if there's something of value
Yep.
that you think would really help somebody else to find joy and to reconnect with their creativity.
Yep.
Send us
Do it.
along.
And if you're a creative person and want to be a guest on the Fiction Fairies podcast, there is a form in the show description and on our Substack to contact us.
Yes, for sure. And now we'll leave you with the glimmer challenge. I don't have a wand. Okay, but I have a
Oh,
teaspoon.
you have something.
I
There
have a
you go.
spoon.
I love it.
We're going to be
Anything can be a wand. Anything can be a
exactly.
wand.
I'm directing it to you. So, we'll leave you with the glimmer challenge of asking you to find and spread joy today. Farewell, joylings. Leave it alone.
Farewell, Joylings. See you next time on the Fiction Fairies podcast. Bye.
Bye.